20 encounters with predators that shouldn't exist. This wasn't filmed in the dark. It didn't happen in some forbidden place. It happened in open fields, quiet rivers, ordinary roads, places where predators are supposed to be understood. In nature, danger follows rules, teeth, claws, instinct. But in these recordings, something feels off. Movements that don't look natural. Bodies that don't match any known species. Eyes that seem almost aware of the camera. These are real encounters, captured by people who weren't searching for monsters. 20 encounters, each one escalating, each one harder to explain. And by the end, the idea of what a predator is may not feel so certain anymore. Number 20, caged silence. At first glance, it looks like a large bird, nothing more than something out of place. In a small town in Mexico, neighbors managed to trap what they described as a strange creature wandering near their homes. The moment was recorded on a cell phone. According to witnesses, the animal was subdued and placed inside a metal cage, left on wet ground as people gathered around at a distance. The person filming slowly moves closer, then zooms in. Inside the cage, the figure remains completely still. Dark feathers cling tightly to its body. A sharply curved beak points downward. Its posture is rigid, silent, watching. It doesn't flap. It doesn't resist. It simply stares through the bars. At this stage, nothing feels overtly threatening, but something about its stillness feels deliberate. Number 19, the timestamp glitch. Days earlier, shepherds reported something unusual drifting across the open fields, a sound they described as crying. A group of biology students decided to track it. When they arrived, the shepherds were gone, but something else remained. An old cage stood alone in the dirt, rusted bars, mud at its base, and inside, a creature no one could properly classify. Its body was covered in thick, darkened fur, coated with dust. But the face didn't match the body, wrinkled, aged, almost human in its sadness. And from that face, a beak. The camera shakes slightly as one of the students steps closer. The creature doesn't move. It locks its gaze directly onto him. Then something subtle happens. The camera timestamp jumps forward 3 seconds. No cut, no distortion. The creature never makes a sound. From here on, the encounters stop feeling accidental. Number 18, watcher on the wires. 2 nights in a row, residents along a rural farming road reported something moving above them, scraping sounds, traveling across electrical lines just before sunset. When they looked up, the sky was empty. On the 3rd evening, someone finally saw it, perched on the wooden crossbeam of a telephone pole. Beneath pale blue sky and drifting clouds sat what looked like an owl. At first glance, its body was too thick, its limbs too defined, gripping the beam with deliberate balance. The face was round and pale, heart-shaped like a barn owl's mask. But the eyes faced forward, unblinking, measuring. It didn't twitch, didn't preen, didn't tilt its head. The power lines began to hum. The screen flickered once. When the image stabilized, the creature was staring directly into the lens. And when it vanished, 7 seconds of footage were gone. From this point forward, the patterns are harder to dismiss. Number 17, wingless carrion. A sealed forest reserve along the Mongolia-China border. Trackers and 2 international biologists claimed they had cornered something feeding on livestock in broad daylight. They didn't use tranquilizers, no specialized equipment, just rope and distance. In the center of the clearing sat a creature that resembled a massive vulture, but it had no wings. Its body was covered in matted black feathers. The limbs were short, almost simian, ending in curved fingers that pressed into the dry soil. Its head was bald and pink, the hooked beak opening and closing slowly, releasing a hollow screech that seemed to vibrate inside the ribcage rather than the air. It didn't struggle. It didn't attempt escape. It simply watched each person in the circle with unnerving stillness. By now, the idea that these are misidentified animals starts to weaken. Number 16, breathing earth. At sunrise, field workers noticed something unsettling, a section of damp soil rising and falling, as if it were breathing. They assumed an animal was trapped underground. They started digging. What surfaced first was a curved, bony claw, then a massive bald head, jaw hanging open in a silent scream. Rodent-like incisors, eyes with human-shaped pupils. Its body was wrapped in wet, matted wool, clinging tightly to its frame. It didn't lunge, it didn't flee. It twisted weakly, gasping, like something disturbed from a long burial. One of the workers filmed as the creature slowly turned its neck toward him. Its eye tracked the camera with precise focus. Then the environment shifted. Leaves dulled. Birdsong stopped. Phones lost signal. Number 15. Fingal's Cave. A marine biology team entered the cavern to document phosphorescent coral colonies. Basalt columns amplified every drop of water. The mission was routine until one of them stopped walking. From the central tunnel, something massive began to emerge. An armored body, whale-like in scale, reptilian in movement, dragged itself across algae-covered stone. Its head was wide, eyeless, draped with long, viscous tendrils that swayed with each slow breath. Every exhale seemed to vibrate through the rock itself. It didn't charge, it didn't retreat, it simply presented itself. Then the cave fell silent. Waves stopped echoing. A flashlight flickered once. For 9 seconds, every device recorded nothing. By now, whatever we're seeing is no longer just wildlife behaving strangely. Number 14. Split pupil ram. High desert grasslands near the hills. For 3 nights, something crossed the grazing fields without triggering motion sensors. Cattle scattered without tracks, reacting to something unseen. That afternoon, 4 ranchers cornered it in open ground, blocking its path with a wooden panel. It rose upright on powerful hind legs like a ram. Thick spiral horns curved back in near-perfect symmetry, but its torso was wrong. Elongated chest, subtly defined ribcage beneath dark hide. Forelimbs thinner and oddly jointed, adaptable. Its eyes tracked each man's breathing. When it opened its mouth, a low resonance vibrated through the soil. The wooden board trembled. On camera, its pupils narrowed vertically, then briefly rounded. From here on, containment stops feeling possible. Number 13. Bellthroat hybrid. Weeks after livestock began disappearing, a ranching community set up trail cameras across the hills. One afternoon, a young field worker followed a muffled bellow echoing between the ridges. He didn't expect to find it restrained. Thick ropes held a standing figure in low brush. Its upper body was humanoid. From the waist down, dense, dark fur covered powerful ram-like legs. Curved horns framed a distorted head, part bovine, part unmistakably human in the jawline. It didn't speak, only deep snorts that made the ground vibrate beneath its hooves. When the camera zoomed in, the creature opened its mouth. A split tongue moved slowly. Then came a hollow, repeating tone. The ropes tightened on their own. From this point, resistance feels meaningless. Number 12. The Mud Sentinel. A semi-abandoned pig farm in North Wales. After a week of heavy rain, the rear pen was swallowed in mud. One worker arrived early and found the back gate open, tracks blurred, silence pressing in. He started recording. From a shed, it emerged. Tall, upright. Thick wool covering an unnaturally muscular frame. But the head didn't belong. Bald, red, vulture-like skin stretched tight over bone. The eyes blinked slowly, as if practicing human expression. It made no sound. Split hooves pressed into the soaked ground as it stepped onto the wooden walkway. Then it stopped. Something shifted beneath the mud. It didn't react. It simply lifted one limb, pointing. At this stage, whatever is happening is no longer contained to the creature itself. Number 11. The Silent Pair. A lone hunter, moving through dense woodland, noticed movement ahead on the trail. 2 figures, barefoot, pale gray skin, thin, standing too still. He assumed they were lost hikers until they didn't respond. The camera keeps rolling as he approaches from a distance. The two individuals stand several meters apart, neither speaking, neither signaling. Their posture is rigid. Their eyes remain fixed, not on the hunter, but slightly past him. They don't blink much. They don't react to branches snapping under his boots. There's no visible gear, no backpacks, no signs of camping, just silence. They begin walking slowly, almost in sync, without acknowledging the camera. By now, what's disturbing isn't aggression. Number 10. White-eyed drifter, high mist lake in the eastern Carpathians. A couple fishing from a small dock noticed what looked like a woman swimming alone in 4-degree water. They thought it was a prank or someone in danger. They began recording. The figure moved slowly through the fog, barely disturbing the surface. Long, wet hair hung stiff against gray, cracked skin. Her face showed no emotion. Her eyes were completely white. As she drifted closer, birds stopped singing. The lake flattened into unnatural stillness. At less than 10 meters, the phone froze. Image visible, screen unresponsive. She smiled slightly, then raised one hand and submerged. No splash. Rescue teams found nothing, except finger marks on the boat. From the inside, at this stage, proximity becomes the threat. Number 9. The small observer. Hunting dogs cornered something in an open field. At first it seemed insignificant, too small to register as a serious threat. The dogs circled tightly, barking, but none of them committed to the attack. In the center stood a tiny, upright figure, not scrambling, not hiding, standing. The camera zooms in from a distance. The shape appears compact, vaguely humanoid, watching the animals instead of fleeing. Its posture is composed, measuring. The dogs hesitate. No final charge, no snap of jaws. Just tension suspended in open air. The recording cuts without explanation. At this level, the encounters are no longer distant. They are happening at ground level. Number 8. Forest charge. A handheld camera scans the edge of a dense forest. At first, nothing moves. Then a shape separates itself from the tree line. It's enormous. Too tall to be a man, too upright to be an animal on all fours. The figure stands motionless between the trunks, partially shadowed, its proportions hard to read against the trees. The person filming reacts. The fear is immediate. For a moment, the figure doesn't advance. It just holds position, like it's deciding. Then it runs, straight toward the camera. The sound changes first. Branches snapping, heavy impacts, the operator's breathing turning frantic. The frame jolts as the person backs away, then spins to flee. The image smears into motion blur, and the recording cuts mid-run. What comes next is where survival becomes the only explanation. Number 7. The Sonora photograph. Sonora, 1946. A black and white photograph shows a man identified as Don Pedro Cazan, standing beside something no record can properly classify. The image is grainy, sun-faded by decades. Pedro faces the camera stiffly, hat in hand. Next to him stands the figure. Tall, covered in pale, almost white fur. Its face appears skeletal, elongated, hollow around the eyes. The structure too sharp to be dismissed as shadow. It isn't posed like livestock. It isn't restrained. It simply stands there, as if belonging in the frame. No similar sightings were officially documented afterward. No reports, no preserved remains, just the photograph. By now, the pattern stretches beyond video. Some encounters were captured long before we had the language to explain them. Number 6. Winged stillness. A hunter and his dog stop abruptly along a forest path. Ahead of them, partially between the trees, stands something that does not fit the environment. Dark body, massive wings folded tight against its frame. It isn't perched, it isn't tangled in branches. It's standing. The dog doesn't bark. It freezes, low and tense. The hunter raises his phone, recording in silence. Then the creature moves, not to escape. It slowly unfolds its wings, wide, deliberate, controlled. The span is unnatural against the scale of the trees. No frantic motion, no territorial display, just expansion. The forest goes quiet, no insects, no wind. By this stage, the encounters stop feeling accidental. They feel witnessed. Number 5. The crying lure. Two men walking through dense woodland pause when they hear it. A baby crying, not distant, not echoing, close. They follow the sound, stepping carefully between trees, calling out to see if someone needs help. The crying continues, strained, repetitive, almost mechanical. Then it stops. Behind a thick tree trunk, something is standing. Still, not crouched, not hiding. A human-shaped figure, partially obscured by bark and shadow. It doesn't sway, it doesn't shift its weight. It simply occupies the space where the sound had been. Neither man speaks. They slowly step backward. The camera shakes slightly. The crying does not return. The video ends before anything moves. At this point, curiosity becomes the bait. Number 4. The window face. A group of teenagers gather inside an abandoned house, filming what they describe as a ritual. Candles lit, chants low and rhythmic, nervous laughter between phrases. Everything appears staged, controlled. Then someone notices the window behind them. In the darkness beyond the glass, a face begins to emerge. Slowly. It doesn't resemble anyone in the room. The features are distorted, elongated, asymmetrical. The mouth stretched wider than it should be. It doesn't blink. It simply presses closer to the pane. The chanting falters. One of them turns fully toward the window. The screaming starts instantly. The camera drops, capturing only fragments. Footsteps, panic, the door slamming open. The recording ends mid-flight. Now there's no ambiguity left. Something was watching back. Number 3. After the shot. A man stands in an open field, breathing hard, phone shaking in his hand. In the distance, something is crouched over what he claims are human remains. He begins recording before approaching. The figure is hunched, dark, its proportions unclear against the grass. It doesn't react immediately. It continues moving in short, deliberate motions. He shouts, no response, then he fires. The shot echoes across the field. The figure jerks and collapses. As he moves closer, the camera struggles to focus. What lies on the ground does not resemble any known animal. The limbs misaligned, the torso distorted, the texture wrong. He lowers the weapon. His final words are barely steady. It wasn't from this world. At this point, disbelief is no longer an option. Number 2, the unnatural canine. A police officer is seen struggling on the ground with what appears to be a large dog. At first, it looks like a routine restraint. Then the camera gets closer. The body resembles a canine, muscular, low to the ground, resisting with violent strength. But the face is wrong. The proportions don't align with any familiar breed. The muzzle seems shortened. The eyes set too forward, the expression disturbingly aware. The officer attempts to pin it, shouting for backup. The creature doesn't bark. It doesn't snarl. It stares. The footage shakes as bystanders react, unsure whether to intervene. No official explanation was released. No follow-up report surfaced. Only the recording remains. There is no turning back now. Whatever this is, it fights back. Number 1. Desert capture. An open desert at dusk. No buildings, no vehicles. Just flat terrain stretching toward distant mountains under a fading sky. In the center of the frame stands a towering humanoid figure with an elongated serpentine lower body instead of legs. The tail curves across the sand, thick and scaled, supporting its upright torso. In one hand, it holds a man upside down by the ankle. The man hangs limp, arms dangling toward the ground. There is no visible struggle in this moment, no visible crowd, no movement from the surrounding landscape. The creature's posture is steady, controlled. The image does not show what happened before. It does not show what happened after. It only shows this. And at this point, there is nothing left to rationalize, no escape.